absolutely. So my long title is Chief Product and Technology Officer, but I also have security and risk, and I have product marketing and strategy. And so we cut it off at 4 letters with the CPTO. But overall, looking over both our products that we build for our customers, how we actually build those with our customers. So we've introduced a design partner program. We do a lot of co-innovation with our customers, and then the technology behind it, and making sure that, in this age of AI, making sure that things are safe and secure and resilient. And so it's a fun job. I get to both play with the toys and make the toys, as we like to say. Modernizing the core, it's definitely the most complex challenge that banks face, but it's also the most critical. And so our approach really is centered on progressive modernization. So we talk to the banks about how can we evolve their core step by step, so we can avoid disruption or avoid that risk of full replacement. For us, that really means talking to them about how can we decompose the monolith intelligently. So can we start in an area like payments or lending or onboarding and modernize those more as a modular solution or service, and then integrate that to their existing ecosystem? And for them, it also helps them from a testing time, the complexity, the backend systems that it may feed into, because oftentimes it's not just about the core, it's also what does it feed downstream, and what are the complexities involved there. And so underneath our core, we've built a modern cloud native architecture, but focused it on really that containerization, having the strong orchestration layer, optimized for observability, automation, and then really trying to make sure that we make it easy for them to manage the service. If it's SaaS, we manage it for them, but if it's within their environment, they can manage it. And so we try to give them those tools, as well. And I think as we look to the future and the tools that are coming out, we're introducing the concept of MCP, designed to really bring that greater consistency to them and that transparency, how they deploy, how it's governed, how it's scaled across the environments. But we try to look at it as it's not something that we do to them, it's something we do with them. For us, we have 950 core banking transformations globally, and everyone at different iterations, right? We have some people who are on older versions and they're doing it in a modular way. We have some clients who have come over to us from an existing core. And so, how do we help them? And that co-design, that, modernization journey with the clients has become really key and critical versus, just giving them, hey, here's your core, and you need to do all of it all at once. When we think about things like cybersecurity, that's one of the top concerns for our banks. And so when we look at the tools out there that fraudsters might use, when we look at the risk in the cybersecurity space, it's requiring them to upgrade. And so there's a real need. And then you look at everything happening in AI. People want to use AI, but they can't on the older infrastructures. Many of our banks, they may have 6 or 7 legacy systems. We need to bring those together so that their data is in such a way that they can actually use it and leverage the new tools that are coming up. So cyber is a big driver for many of our banks. They want to make sure that the technology that they're on, we can help them stay safe and secure. And then AI, everyone wants to be a part of it and leverage it, whether it's from an operational aspect, how they're helping their customers, how they're even thinking about future products and what those products look like. And so both of those are pretty strong drivers with our banks of why they need to modernize. So co-innovation is probably my favorite part. When I came to Temenos, I guess about 14, 15 months ago, I really wanted to push into this true co-creation model. And so we announced our design partner program, but before we announced it, we had actually started doing it with 3 of our key clients. And so now we have our design partner program that's, running full throttle. I think we have about 12, 13 clients that are actively doing different use cases in different areas of core banking with us. But we run it out of our innovation hub out of Orlando, and it's really creating that shared environment where they can, it's not just about engineers talking to engineers. They can bring their business operation partners in, they can bring legal, risk, and really talk about what is the problem we're trying to solve, and then how do we get there, versus here's the product, I think it'll solve your problem. It's, we start with what is the problem, what is the outcome that they're driving for. And so it really helps us, move faster, build smarter, test iteratively. So both sides are testing at the same time, and we're able to actually see, is this going to solve the ultimate problem? Two of our most recent examples, and this was, where we launched our design partner off of, was our TPM Copilot, so our Temenos Product Manager Copilot. We co-designed it with a bank in Europe, BIL, and Commerce Bank in the US. And so, with two different banks, both coming up with very similar needs and outcomes they were looking to drive, we were able to create a product that gives them conversational product creation. So as an example, a product manager can go in and describe a new deposit product and say, here's what I'm looking to build, using natural language, just talking to their customers, thinking about the ideas. They can check to make sure it's compliant. They can check to make sure that it's going to meet all of the regulations necessary. And then the system generates the configuration instantly for them. So it's really brought that speed to market for our customers for the products that they want to bring to life. The other one is FCM AI agent. And so we developed that with one of our tier one European banks. And their goal was to reduce false positives and sanction screenings. And we've been able to have, a tremendous impact for them, bringing it from 8% down to 2% from a false positives. And the client has the ability to run it in a mode that allows them to keep humans in the loop while the AI is continuously learning. And that's helped them, from as they brought their risk teams in and they brought their legal teams in, to know that they have that ability to put the human in the loop, has really allowed them to move faster and roll it out, more broadly across the organization. But both solutions, those are two of our co-innovation. Right now, we're doing some co-innovation around modularity. So both solutions really show how co-innovation really can help us deliver with our customers, and really making sure that we're bringing transparency, we're solving for their needs, maintaining governance, and really scalability across the banks. To your point, right? The hype is there, and I think it's okay, right? Because there's a cultural aspect to AI that you do need to put some tools in place that maybe aren't embedded right into your core, but they're just changing the culture of your organization to be more comfortable and understand that AI doesn't replace you. It's additive, or it's a plus, you plus the AI. And so I think from a cultural aspect, the hype actually hasn't been bad. But when we think about the real world deployments and like the two examples with TPM Copilot and FCM AI agent, the biggest takeaway that we're seeing is they want to move past experimentation, and they're investing in AI that delivers tangible business value. We see a lot of times we're working with them to really describe, how they keep it safe, but also the outcomes they're going to see. And we're seeing, strong results. I mentioned the 8%, 2%, and false positives, that compliance accuracy, reducing their operational risk. But more importantly to them is still their customers. All of the customers, everyone has ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatever their favorite tool is, and so customers are expecting AI is a part of their banking experience, and they don't understand the complexities in the background. So how can we help make sure that trust is maintained? Trust is non-negotiable for the banks, between the banks and their customers, and of course us and our banks. And so banks want AI that's explainable, it's governed, it's reliable. And so we've started to embed SRE practices into our AI operations so that we can treat the models with the same discipline as we would any other type of software. So monitoring the uptime, latency, performance, where it drifts beyond or defined SLAs, ensuring the AI really behaves predictably, just like software always has. And so, if we think about AI accelerating modernization from automated testing or predicting instance, like in our SaaS operations, we use it for ourselves. We want to make sure that banks are only paying for what they need when they need it, but at the same time, we're keeping them safe and secure. And so, we think about, as we look ahead, obviously this is a hot topic. It's going to be a hot topic for many years to come. Our focus is really on intelligent reliability, making sure that that rigor of advanced orchestration, allowing the systems to be more adaptive, self-optimizing, self-healing, and creating that environment where modernization and deployment innovation can really happen continuously, and making sure that our risk and legal friends are comfortable along the way.